Sales is not that complicated, and humans have a habit of making everything really complicated. That's just the nature of what we do, okay? But in reality, when doing outbound sales is kind of what we're talking about here. Obviously, there's other aspects of people on here might be using the phone for client calling and whatever that is. But in the context of outbound sales and generating, new business meetings is really, it's just pretty simple. If you boil it down to three main steps, it's number one, make a list. Number two, call them. And number three, follow up. Simple as that. It sounds pretty simple, right? So, but if we start with break those down. Number one, make a list. So that really is we're not, like I said, when we're talking about the psychology part, we're not calling everyone. We're not just, spamming everyone and calling them. We're actually identifying very specific individuals who we think we can help and they can benefit from our services or our product, okay? So it's a very curated list. And I could spend, another hour talking about how to build those lists. We have a data enrichment, channel verification, all of those parts. But fundamentally, make a list of people who you think you can serve. Number two, call them, pick up the phone and have a honest conversation. And using a script that's based on other people that you've helped in the past, touch on the pain points that might be similar to those. And separate from the outcome. And all we're doing is trying to find people who might be right fit. And in sales, there's the pyramid of need, which is basically 3% of people are actually actively needing your service at the moment. 7% maybe, the rest aren't. So of course, you're trying to find those 3%, but that's very rare. But don't forget those 7% who might not just be buying now, especially if you're selling creative services. Of course, they can have an agency in place, whatever. But it's about having an honest human conversation with them and hopefully being allowed the permission to follow up and nurture them down the path to have future conversations. So really is, and then the follow-up, that is where the money is. It's a big cheesy thing in America. When I used to work in the SaaS space in San Francisco, it's called the big stacks are in the callbacks. It's all in the money. All the money is in the follow-up, okay? So that doesn't mean, you're going to book a meeting and sell on the first call. It usually takes a few more other dials or a few other touch points. And the follow-up might be, okay, you've contacted them. They say, okay, I'm not in a moment now. Okay, can I have permission to contact you via email now and nurture with more content, et cetera, et cetera. And that will just give you the permission, the opt-in to have those meaningful conversations going forward. So make a list. Know who you're targeting, and when they do pick up the phone, make sure you know what you're going to say to them, and then once you speak to them, make sure you know what you're going to do after you speak to them. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, make a list, call them, follow up. Those are my 3 tips really for executing.